Good morning. Terrorism in the United States. 4 separate incidents in just hours. I'm Maria Bartiromo. Thanks for joining us. It is Monday, September 19th. Here are your top stories, 7:30 a.m. on the East Coast. Breaking news now. A bomb exploding at a New Jersey train station as authorities were trying to disarm it with a robot. A backpack with multiple devices was found. The FBI now executing a search warrant in Elizabeth, New Jersey in connection with this latest attack. 5 people of interest are currently in custody in connection with Saturday night's explosion in Manhattan. A bomb went off in the Chelsea neighborhood, injuring 29 people. Earlier in the day, officials found a pipe bomb near a charity race in Seaside, New Jersey. The Midwest also under threat. A stabbing spree at a Minnesota mall. Authorities say that attack could have been worse if not for the heroic efforts of an off-duty police officer.
Again, protected others from being injured and potentially loss of life. Clearly, a hero, Officer Falconer, was there at the right time, at the right place.
These threats coming as the world's leaders descend upon New York City this week for the UN General Assembly. Security ramping up, New York deploying 1,000 state police officers and National Guard members, all to patrol transit hubs. We've got the latest developments coming now. Markets around the world stable, meanwhile, despite the terror threat. Take a look at futures in the U.S., pointing to a gain of 80 points on the Dow Jones Industrial Average ahead of a Federal Reserve meeting Tuesday and Wednesday. In Europe, markets are higher as well. As you can see, money moving into equities up 1.5% on the major averages despite the worries over terrorism. And in Asia overnight, the Japanese markets were closed for a holiday. The others also higher this morning. Breaking news in New Jersey now. The FBI executing a search warrant in the town of Elizabeth, New Jersey after a bomb explodes at a train station. Fox News' Leland Vittert in Elizabeth, New Jersey now. That's the site of the raid. Leland.
Maria, good morning to you. The FBI, the Joint Terrorism Task Force, the ATF, New Jersey State Police, all on the scene here at an apartment above this fried chicken joint and bodega here behind us in Elizabeth. Now, they will not confirm on the record that this is related to the explosion in Elizabeth, the explosion in New York that happened over the weekend. But suffice it to say, it doesn't appear these guys are here for coffee. There are bomb-sniffing dogs going car to car, trash can to trash can in this working-class neighborhood about a mile from the train station in Elizabeth, New Jersey, where the explosion happened yesterday. And this sort of unfolded overnight. There was a couple of guys who were out late on a Sunday night and found a backpack and a trash can. When they saw wires coming out of the trash can and the backpack, that is when they called police. Police brought in a bomb robot to investigate and look at this package. During that investigation, one of these pipe bombs went off. There were 4 other pipe bombs inside that bag that are now at the FBI lab in Quantico, Virginia. Unclear if these devices are related to the ones in New York that exploded on Saturday night in Chelsea, but certainly you have now 3 very closely related incidences of explosive devices, pipe bombs and or pressure cooker bombs from Seaside Park, New Jersey, about an hour south of Elizabeth, to Elizabeth, New Jersey, and now obviously the one that we've had in New York City. The FBI not saying if they've brought anything out of these apartments, although we do see the ATF's big evidence collection laboratory here. Haven't seen any of the bomb technicians in those very large suits. Where does this investigation go from here? We know there were 5 people pulled over in a traffic stop by the FBI late last night in connection with this. So far, no suspects in custody, no wanted posters or anything like that out, as we wait to see what the FBI pulls out here in Elizabeth, New Jersey, and perhaps what they can get from those 4 pipe bombs that did not explode and thankfully didn't injure anybody. Maria, back to you.
All right, Leland, thanks very much. Leland Vittert in New Jersey this morning. Judicial Watch releasing another 113 pages of State Department documents, meanwhile, that show senior officials taking issue with Hillary Clinton's personal email server as far back as August of 2013. Yet despite the concerns, the State Department did not request that Clinton produce any of the emails in question until October of the following year. I want to bring in Fox senior judicial analyst Judge Andrew Napolitano. Judge, good to see you. Before we get to the Hillary Clinton email story, your takeaway on these bombs exploding, and now the FBI is obviously in Elizabeth investigating that apartment.
My takeaway is I wish all the NSA spying worked, and it obviously doesn't. These guys use cell phones. The NSA has digital copies of everything they said on their cell phones, and the NSA has every keystroke that they used when they communicated with each other, and still they were able to pull this off. It's beginning to look more and more like this was organized, which means communication, which means the NSA should have picked this up and warned the FBI. They have too much information overload, don't even have time to go through it, because instead of focusing on bad people like these creeps, they listen to everything everybody says.
Yeah, and then
does the fact that the NSA have all this information explain why so quickly they've zeroed in on a bodega in Elizabeth? Are we going to be able to nail this down quickly because of all that
I hope we can
surveillance?
nail it down quickly before another one happens. And that's a very good observation. It may very well be that the FBI has gone to the NSA, acquired that information, conducted an interview, gotten a search warrant. I mean, they've got to go through these steps. They can't just break down doors. So the NSA can be helpful retroactively, but the whole purpose of this massive surveillance is to prevent these things before they happen. Now, thankfully, nobody's been killed in this case, though the population is terrified.
Yeah, let me move on to Hillary Clinton. Judicial Watch releasing this 113 pages of State Department documents. And apparently senior officials were taking issue that she had the private server.
This is very troublesome from a political and a legal point of view. First, the legal. The State Department told a federal judge it did not have any emails from Mrs. Clinton and didn't know where they were. And as a result, a federal judge dismissed the first of the now 49 Freedom of Information Act cases that have been filed against the State Department. So we now know that whatever the State Department told this federal judge is contradicted by these inquiries that were made in 2013. The federal judge dismissed the complaint in 2014. In 2015, when the New York Times, the Washington Post, and Fox News discovered the existence and the use of the secret server, the complaint was reinstated. So false information was given by the State Department to their lawyers and to a federal judge, and a federal judge relied on it. That's going to open up another can of worms for these people.
Judge, there's a sense out there that the people are so frustrated. They're saying nothing's going to happen. The Clintons are corrupt. The courts are corrupt. The judiciary is corrupt. Everything is corrupt. Judge, can you talk to that point? Is everything so bad that nothing's going to happen?
It is a head scratcher to me that Commissioner Comey decided not to prosecute Mrs. Clinton, or not to recommend
You have to see what Jim Kallstrom said about that yesterday on my Sunday show. We're going to run that later.
Jim Kallstrom and Jim Comey used to work together.
Right, and Jim Kallstrom has some serious opinions about what took place with Jim Comey.
Jim Kallstrom is the gold standard in FBI agents. There was a time when you could say that about Jim Comey, but his behavior in this case is inexplicable.
Yeah.
The decision.
Do we have that soundbite? No.
The decision to overlook obstruction of justice, destruction of evidence, lying under oath, misleading Congress, failure to keep secure state secrets is a head scratcher. And then the selective release of information, releasing only a portion of your file to make yourselves look good, is so frustrating to Congress.
And when did they release it, Dagan? Friday night of Labor Day.
I know, another head shaker. Do you think if it was a different presidential candidate that the FBI would have treated that person the same way? Because I'm raising the issue of, is this because they don't want to interfere in the presidential election? Or is it more about her and her being a Clinton?
I think it's about her, and I think it's about the FBI's boss. Because
Loretta Lynch.
No, Barack Obama.
There you go.
Because some of the emails, which we have not yet seen, I've seen 2 of them, are from President Obama to Mrs. Clinton, personally sent by the president to Mrs. Clinton on the Clinton server. So he personally knew that she was using this personal server.
Well, that's the problem, because when you indict one, you're indicting President Obama. I mean,
at least he would have been a witness.
Here's what Jim Kallstrom, who was the assistant director of the FBI, he's an FBI man for 28 years. Here's what he told me yesterday on Sunday Morning Futures. Listen to this.
This lady is running for president of the United States. Should not the public know how many times she said, I don't remember, or I'm not going to answer, or I'm pleading the fifth? And how does the FBI director give his conference and lay out all this stuff about what she did, and then have that foolish thing he did after that? And then when asked a question by the news media, what went on during the Clinton interview, he said, I haven't asked the agents yet what went on in the interview.
You know, and in fairness to Jim Kallstrom, and in fairness to everybody, he is a friend of mine, but I'm aware of his professional expertise. You're aware of his professional expertise, Steve. The situation is even worse than the way he painted it. This was not a serious investigation from minute one. No grand jury was summoned. No evidence was presented to a grand jury. No subpoenas were served. No search warrants were sought. In the FBI report, I counted 5 times where the author of that report said, "We didn't get this. I wish we had this. We couldn't find this." That's their own fault for not using the tools available to them.
To the judge's point, I worked at FBI headquarters. I've worked with these fine individuals, and they are quite upset over this. And the agents are saying, Judge, that Jim Comey single-handedly tarnished the reputation of that agency for many, many years to come as a result of not pursuing this the way it should have been pursued. And one question for you, people are asking, well, isn't it the job of a law enforcement officer to bring the charges but not recommend prosecution or not?
Yes, and the reason that job was changed this time is because the Attorney General and her 4 political appointee senior people in the Justice Department were taken off the case. Why were they taken off the case? Because of the planned inappropriate behavior between the Attorney General and Bill Clinton discussing the case on her
Does this become an impeachment investigation instead of a criminal investigation if she's elected president?
Yes.
If she's elected president, you really think she's going to get impeached?
No, but if the Republicans want to give her a hard time, they'll continue to investigate this.
Judge, great insights as always. Thank you.
Pleasure.
Judge Napolitano coming up.